fascinating. Which kind of transitions to people are very, 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 very upset over all of these new anti-abortion laws that we're having. There's a lot of legislation that's being passed. So, Vic, you want to read? It's kind of a good chunk, but we can do the first and then kind of break it down.
This is from the New York Times. Florida governor signed a law banning most abortions after 15 weeks. It is part of a cascade of restrictive abortion legislation in Republican-led states. Governor Ron DeSantis of Florida on Thursday signed into law a ban on most abortions after 15 weeks of pregnancy, severely restricting access to the procedure in a state that has long been a refuge for women from across the South. The new law, which takes effect on July 1st, is modeled after a similar abortion ban in Mississippi that the U.S. Supreme Court appears poised to uphold. It contains expectations only in cases where an abortion is necessary to save the life of the mother or prevent serious injury, or if the fetus has a fatal abnormality. The new Florida law is the latest in a cascade of restrictive abortion legislation proposed in Republican-led states. On Wednesday, lawmakers in Kentucky overturned the governor's veto of a measure restricting abortions after 15 weeks and prohibiting providers from offering abortions until they can meet certain requirements. Which states have introduced legislation banning abortions? Abortion bans have been introduced in 30 states this year, according to the Guttmacher, whatever that is, Institute.
Guttmacher.
A research group that supports abortion rights. Bans have passed at least one legislative chamber in 7 states: Arizona, Idaho, Wyoming, Florida, Kentucky, Oklahoma, and West Virginia. And they've been enacted in 6 of those states: Florida, Oklahoma, Kentucky, Arizona, Idaho, and Wyoming. What we're seeing right now is the buildup of decades where states' legislatures have been adopting restriction after restriction. Now they're moving to adopt ban after ban, said Elizabeth Nash, state policy analyst for the, how do you say it? Guttmacher Institute. She said the legislation reflected the efforts of increasingly conservative state legislatures moving to take advantage of rightward shifts in the courts. Several states have so-called trigger bans, which will make abortion illegal if Roe is overturned or scaled back. All of the legislation proposed so far is likely to be enacted, Ms. Nash said, but some efforts may face court challenges. In Idaho, for example, an abortion ban modeled on that of Texas was set to take effect on April 22nd, but was temporarily blocked by the Idaho Supreme Court on Friday. Planned Parenthood said on Tuesday that it would challenge any abortion ban enacted in Oklahoma, even as they passed more far-reaching bans. States have not let up passing other restrictions, including waiting periods and parental consent laws. On Tuesday, a judge in Florida allowed a 24-hour waiting period that abortion rights groups had spent 7 years attempting to block.
Great things. Thank you for, I know you're probably out of breath. Great things for those of us in the anti-abortion social club. A lot of states have really been moving forward. I mean, for example, the 15-week ban, that's great. That's not enough, but that's great. That's great. We can, and, there are a lot of arguments over incrementalism, especially if you're a Christian, that we can get into we can do a whole nother episode on that. But I think that right now, this is a good start, and this is something to be happy and proud of. And it just also shows, because on the news last night, shout out to Savannah, she was there when the signing, the Ohio one, I believe, they were talking about
not the Savannah and Cole we just talked about.
No, sorry, Savannah was Students for Life. I saw her in the background when they were signing the law, and they're on the news on not Inside Edition, World News Tonight with David Muir. They were like, yeah, and now a lot of states are having these abortion bans or women's restrictive something. And you can tell people are like, the pro-aborts are very scared. Like you can tell that they're like, oh gosh, this is really happening. This is really happening. And it, to me, like, I'm just like, yeah, that's good. Like when the other side is scared, that's good. And that just reminds us, that we need to be ready, in the sense of, I hope everyone listening, you are somehow connected with your local pregnancy resource center, whether it's donating. If you can donate $10, I'll be completely transparent. The most I can do at this time in my life is $10, and I do $10 every month. Not a lot, but it's not nothing.
It
you know,
buys
we can all
a
give
box
what we
of
can.
tampons.
If you mean if they're pregnant, they don't need tampons.
Well,
so diapers.
Whatever. Well, I thought they also provide, like,
mean.
doesn't pregnancy resource centers, like, also provide, like, women care too?
Yeah, I mean, that's true.
That's
like, if
what
they
I was
need
thinking.
to get, like, I think if something happens and you need a tampon, I'm sure they'll have
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good point. But yeah, so, like, the idea, though, is just to do something. Time. If you can't do money, time. You know, I know that the one in Charlotte, the Cabarrus Women's Center is Cabarrus and U City. They're having a walk May 14th. I need to get on in a month from now. I want to have, like, you know, I want to help with that. Like, help with just using your time. Go for the walk. Raise some money. Like, you know, we can do this. Like, this, if you're anti-abortion, this is what we need to be doing. We got to be ready. I noticed North Carolina was not on that list. I didn't expect it to be.
We can't get a veto override. That's the issue. Like, yeah, I know we tried, was it last year or the year before? When was the Born Alive
2 years. That was, I think that was like 3 years at this point, maybe 4.
No, because I was back in North Carolina. I don't remember. I think it was 2 years ago.
It definitely wasn't.
Well, they tried doing it with the Born Alive bill, where, like, if a baby is born alive from, like, a botched abortion, it would require the doctor to save it. And, like, the governor vetoed that.
Yeah.
Which is sad.
It makes no sense. It's also, I really don't. I wish someone would write an article to explain, like, why you would be against that, but I haven't seen anything. Like, I don't understand. Even if you're pro-choice, I don't understand why you would be against. If the baby was already born alive, then just save. Like, that to me makes no sense. And that, to me, that also shows you're not really pro-choice. You're just
pro-vote,
anti-life. Yeah. Or wait, what'd you say?
Pro-votes.
Yeah. I mean, that too. I also, so since we're talking about voting, I want to add, everyone, that this is why it's important to vote pro-life first. It's also important. May 17th in North Carolina is our primary. It's a
lot of other
this very seriously
too.
Yeah. I want to say Texas is May 24th. No, sorry. Virginia is May 24th.
I will have it up on That Political
Georgia.
Life under, like, a voter tab. I haven't gotten to it yet, but that's going to be up on That Political Life.
Okay, that's smart. And maybe I might make a post on our page too, even put it in the story. Mm-hmm. Maybe I'll start a whole, like, voting story thing for it too, just for people to have. I want to say either Virginia or Georgia is May 24th, because I was helping my friend with that. And she didn't know where she was registered, if it was Virginia or Georgia. Anyway, that's beside the point. But that's why it's so important on who we elect and who we vote for. These laws would not be passed if people did not vote for people who were pro-life and who want pro-life legislation, who's supporting pro-life legislation. It's so important, everyone, to vote pro-life first and to be serious about your vote. We have a Senate race in North Carolina that's coming up that is going to be so important. You know, when you go, we're not going to endorse anybody just yet. But when you go and you are casting your vote, or when you mail your vote because you're doing absentee, it's so important to vote with, I don't want to say your heart, because that sounds so cheesy, but, like, just vote with your values. That's what I mean. Vote with your values. Don't care about what anybody else says. You don't have to tell anybody. It's your right not to tell someone who you voted for. Also, too, I mean, you can say you voted for Bob and you really voted for Mary Sue. No one knows. I mean, I don't think you should lie, but you don't have to tell anyone. And I hate to say, you don't even have to tell the truth. But when you go there, you have to vote with your values. It's so important. these wonderful laws that are going to be great, especially these trigger laws, because in the next couple of weeks we are going to know the results of Dobbs. Super excited for it. We're going to know the results of Dobbs in the next couple of weeks, and once we know the results, a lot of things are going to change in this country. And I know the other thing I was going to say, and then I'm going to get off my soapbox. I'm sure Vic has some stuff to say. Okay, so also too, when I was looking, I get on Twitter. Sometimes I'm on Twitter to look for topics to talk about. Sometimes I'm on Twitter because I'm bored. Sometimes I'm on Twitter because I want to learn something, or I want to get, what's the latest going on X, Y, and Z? Because everything happens on Twitter first. So if you're not on Twitter, highly recommend it. The left, pro-aborts, people not on our side are so angry. This will probably be the most turnout for a midterm that's ever happened. People are so angry. So that means we cannot slack off. Like, we cannot allow them to be the most at turnout. We cannot allow that, y'all. We cannot allow it. I just want to say that, like, take this very seriously. You have to vote. The left is going to vote. Pro-aborts are going to vote because they're angry. All of these things that we're doing are fantastic, but they're angry. They're going to vote. We need to make sure that we are voting. All right, Vic, did you add anything else?
If you do not know when you're what to do, like register to vote, or like when your primary is, you could just Google like what is my primary election date for your state. Also, you could also go to usvotefoundation.org. They have some information. And then IamVoter.com also has information, but they're like a left-leaning group, but they do have some good resources. I'm trying to essentially create like a more like unbiased like access for people like to like vote, if that makes sense. Like, they're definitely like you scream left, but I want to create like an option for people to kind of like figure out their voter information without me telling you to vote as a Democrat like they do.
Yeah.
I'm not here to tell you who to vote for when I provide you resources.
Yeah. Well, I am. I'm telling you. No, I'm just joking. I'm not telling you either. I just want you to vote your values.
Yes, vote your values.
That, I think, is so important. I think sometimes people get caught up in like trying to vote, because so-and-so said they should vote this way, or not even knowing their values. Mm-hmm. So they just kind of do whatever. We all need to vote our values. Yep. Okay. Quick mid-roll ad. This next segment is brought to you by Living Like Co.